After taking the Awake America tour across America, the West, the East, the North, the South, we come back right here on October 22nd for the grand finale on the National Mall. Guys, this is going to be historic. You do not want to miss this. October 22nd, we're going to strike the ground. This is our third year in a row of worshiping King Jesus on this real estate. We're coming back here 9 days before the midterms, and we believe a shift is going to happen in the spirit. The culmination of all of the worship across America this year is going to happen right here. You don't want to miss it. Get here, the National Mall. It's going to be an epic event that I believe will change the trajectory of our nation in the spirit. We need you here. You got to be a part of it. Let us worship.
I wanted to talk about, if you haven't seen, those of you that are here, you get the DVD out in the lobby if there's any left. Make sure you get that. But go see the movie. Those of you watching, go see the movie Superspreader. It's a great documentary. And I love the fact that you didn't make it, hey, God told me to do this and everything was wonderful and we had a great time and God opened magnificent doors and we had no opposition. Because for some reason, a lot of Christian stuff tends to come across that way because nobody wants to talk about the bad stuff. But especially, Kate, you were very blunt in this film, and so was Sean because this was a challenge. This was a challenge. So I just given them a little bit of a teaser of the film, but talk about that because you guys, everything was going good. Everything was going okay. I know that you ran for office and that didn't work out, but then things changed. But church-wise, you guys were everything was kind of moving along pretty good. So pick up the story.
Yeah, I brought the humanity to the story. I'm real. I'm the real. I had said it in the film. Like we had only ever known being liked. Yeah. And as a believer and worship leader, and we'd done missions all over the world, and everyone was high-fiving us all the time. That's all we had known until 2020. And I know that everybody in this room can identify with that.
Yeah, I think what's wild is, as believers, a lot of times our stories don't feel like they're genuine. They don't feel like they're real to people because we think that the world wants to hear the highlights, and so we oftentimes put forth a story and we just share the highlights. Whereas if you read the Bible, the reason why the Bible is the greatest book that's ever been written, the greatest story that's ever been told, this is why to this day Harvard theologians read it, everyone reads it, is because it tells the whole story.
Right.
It's holy because it tells the whole story. And we felt like as we were sharing our story of 2020 and our Let Us Worship experience, who in their right mind would think worshiping God outside would be controversial?
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
Controversial to the church.
Yeah.
Ooh. She just called it out right there.
And so a little bit of our history, we did, 20 years we were investing into, I'm a missions kid, so we're missionaries. We've been going to hard and dark nations for a long time. Into Afghanistan during the Afghan war, into Iraq during the Iraqi war. I went into North Korea. We brought our family into Iraq several times. We've done missions. This is what we do. But we just never imagined that America would be
the hardest.
Yeah, the hardest. And the same church that supported us to break the law in those countries, get this, was the church persecuting us for breaking the law in our own country. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Sadly.
It's been nice being here. No. I think everybody can relate to that. If you've been in the church for, say, more than 15 minutes, you found out that there's opposition within the church. Not everybody's on your side. And that's how the enemy gets in and so distracts us from doing what we're called to do. He gets us focused on the problem or people instead of what he's called you to do. So how did you, there's special poignant moments in there, Kate, where you drive down, I forget what city it was, you had to drive down and you didn't talk in the car and you're like,
Oh, I know. I begged him to stop.
yeah. And the reenactment's pretty convincing. I'm like, oh, she's ticked all over again at him. Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
Yeah. So I want to know, Kate, and because thank you for being so real, but I want to know, what was it? Tell the people, what was it that changed?
In all honesty, I had to get before the Lord, and I had to find the fear of God over the fear of man again. I think that this whole generation is wanting so badly to be liked, and that's not even biblical.
Wow, it's true.
And I'm just watching, and I'm not even an influencer on Instagram, but just that desire to be liked, the desire to be known, the desire to be applauded, the desire to be accepted. Actually, the desire to be understood. That was the biggest part for me. And I had to throw all of that away. And honestly, it was just reading the Bible. Reading was a huge reminder of what we're called to as believers. Right. And so I was really convicted, because even the pastors in our life and people that we had respected and looked up to for so long kept telling us what the media was saying, kept telling us how we're making them look bad, kept telling us what the media was saying, people were saying, people are leaving the church because of us. And I was, wait, what is God saying? What is God saying for us to do? And I was just I just had to come to the moment of being so sick and tired of wondering what everyone's thinking and everybody and just being reminded to just really look to God.
Amen. That's so good. So good. Sean, I look at you and you got curly hair like I have, and no, really, anyway. Any of you old enough to remember there was a show on TV called Room 222? Okay, all the grandparents out there. Anyway, so there was this guy in that show that he was a white guy that had the biggest afro you've ever seen, and it was kind of like, so I wanted my hair to grow like yours, and instead my hair went straight out. And it was never a good fro either, and fros were cool back then. And I'm sure that had some reason to bring that up. Oh, I know what it was. But, when you look at you guys, you dress the right way, you're cool, you're doing, I'm talking about in the church culture, the millennial culture. You're the right package. You're doing what, and then you run into opposition within the church, like you guys have been so open about. Sean, when this happens, I know your rock is in Jesus, and I know that, but I want to know, how do you keep doing this? How do you keep doing it? There's still opposition out there.
A lot of what I was drawing on in that season, and what I still draw on, is my friends in the persecuted church. And I could cry when I think about them, because when they follow Jesus, they expect resistance. And they don't blame it on the devil, and they don't blame it on whatever. They're just like, no, I'm going to follow Jesus. My family's going to leave me. I'm going to lose my job. People are going to make fun of me. There's going to be threats against my life, but it's going to be so good. And I think in America, we've lost the beauty. And it's like Jesus, when he commissioned the disciples, he said, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. Oh, and by the way, all you are going to die for me. Smile, wink. And they knew what they were getting themselves into. And I feel like in America, and by the way, I do feel like the cool church is dying.
Yes. It's good.
It's powerless.
Amen.
It carries no authority. And I think we had an opportunity, and even as a worship leader, we had an opportunity in 2020, again, drawing on my experience from the early church, from the persecuted church, we had an opportunity to become our songs. Not to just sing them in the safety of our buildings, where we sing about slaying the giants in the land, or I'm no longer a slave to fear, but we can't be afraid to do church.
Right.
Like, we have to become our songs. We have to become our sermons. This is our moment. Yeah. What are we made of? You know, and I think that's for me, it was like, you know, and before this, we had a lot of cred in the music industry, and we had a lot of cred in the, you know, worship industry, and now they all think I'm crazy, which is cool. But my heart was, I don't want to sing something that I don't mean.
Yeah. Amen.
I don't want to sing something that I won't live, you know. Yeah. And I think that and drawing on the well of those leaders, my friends in the underground church in Saudi Arabia and the underground church in Iraq and the underground church in India, they're getting attacked and abused. And I mean, it makes what we walked through with Antifa and what we walked through with Satanists and what we walked through with fines and governors, it makes it look, you know, like child's play compared to what they deal with every single day.
Amen. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. Would you give them a hand?